So here's the big question. How are entrepreneurs like us, who have been hustling and struggling to make it to success, who seem to make it one step forward only to fall two steps back, who are dedicated, determined, and driven, how do we finally break through and win? That is the question, and this podcast will give you the answers. My name is Brian Kelly, and this is the Mind, Body, Business Show. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Mind, Body, Business Show. I'm so excited for tonight because of our special guest. Ursula Odom is here. She is in the house. She is waiting in the green room very patiently. We are going to bring her on, and we are going to extract her amazing brilliance so that you can get farther in your business faster. That's what this show is all about, the Mind, Body, Business Show. It is a show for entrepreneurs, by entrepreneurs. And my mission for this show from day one was to showcase amazing entrepreneurs like Ursula and bring their brilliance out to the front so you can simply take notes and model, which means copy. Do what they have done to achieve the level of success that they have achieved. And why reinvent the wheel and try to remember or try to figure out everything on our own? We've all been there. Come on, I'm one of them. And it's difficult because other people have done it. There's no need to go through the trial and error periods. Why not just follow and ride the coattails of someone like Ursula, who has already achieved great success, and just do what she does and take pieces of what she does that fit you. It's phenomenal. It's powerful. And it's fun. We're going to have a lot of fun too. So the Mind, Body, Business Show, again, is a show for entrepreneurs by entrepreneurs. And the reason for the name is I found out in studying only successful people for about a decade. I found that there were three qualities that kept bubbling up to the top with each of them. I was trying to figure out what is it that makes someone more successful than, say, someone like me. I'm curious. I mean, do they put on their pants 2 legs at a time? They get a running jump start and have something to hold them open for them? Do they tie their shoes backwards or differently than me? What is it? Obviously, neither of those two are the case. And so I began researching that, and what I found became the title of this show, Mind being mindset. And that is each of these successful individuals that I studied. Now, when I say that successful individual, it's like mentors of mine that I personally know and work with, or authors that I've read, some of whom I've met, some I've not met, some are still with us, some are no longer. It's a variety of different people that I studied over that decade. And they all had this three components, but one of them was mindset, which meant they had a very powerful, yet more importantly, flexible mindset. That was the key, flexibility. And body literally means that to a person, everyone I was studying took care of themselves physically, both by exercising on a regular basis. I know to some of you that's a 4-letter word, even though, it's not a 4-letter word. And taking care of yourself nutritionally by what you ingest. And then business. That's kind of the obvious one, isn't it? But there are so many skill sets that one must master in order to get a successful business off the ground, and then to grow it, nurture it, scale it, and expand it beyond that. And any one skill set by itself, to master it, it's like being an expert. There are sayings that it takes 10,000 hours to become known as an expert in anything. And to master a skill set is really not much different. The good news is you don't have to master every skill set. What are we talking about? We're talking about skill sets like marketing, sales, team building, systematizing, leadership. I mean, I could go on a long time for all the skill sets that are required to build and maintain and grow a thriving, successful business. The good news is you don't have to master every single one of them. In fact, if you master just one, and I mentioned it was one of those I mentioned, that small list. If you master just that one, then you honestly do not have to master the rest. Do you want to know what that one is? Maybe I'll give it to you at the end of the show. No, I won't do that. I'll give it to you right now. It is the skill set of leadership. Because when you have mastered the skill set of leadership, you now have the ability to direct a team of folks who have mastered the skill sets that you have yet to master. And honestly, you may never master them. I don't know if there's enough time for each one of us to master all the skill sets. I would venture to say we don't have enough time for that. None of us, not one individual. And so it's very important you become very astute at becoming a leader. Even if you have nobody on your team right now, become a great leader of yourself first. And then that will stem over into leading people and becoming a great leader. So that is the Mind Body Business Show. That's how it's broken down. And another wonderful, wonderful trait of highly successful people is that to a person I found that every single one of them were very voracious readers of books. And not just any book, but the readers of right books, the good books. And so with that, I like to segue into a very brief segment I like to call bookmarks.
Bookmarks. Born to read. Bookmarks. Ready, steady, read. Bookmarks. Brought to you by ReachYourPeakLibrary.com.
Yes, there you see it. ReachYourPeakLibrary.com. And a quick note for everyone watching, even if you're listening on a podcast after, is rather than, succumb to the temptation to go click away and find these resources, because I'm sure Ursula will be bringing some up as well during the show. Rather than do that, I would implore upon you to instead write them down. Old-fashioned pen and paper, if you have it, on your notepad, on your computer, whatever works best for you, but write them down and just move on and then look back up and put your gaze and attention back on Ursula and what she's saying. Because here's the thing. I always say this from stage, from a live stage, is the magic happens in the room. And I would hate for you to take your attention away at the very moment that Ursula drops one of those smart bombs of wisdom that could change your life. And if you miss it, that would be horrible. And so take notes. This works. It's phenomenal. And this is for you, not for me, just to get the most out of this show and the most out of your time, which is the most precious commodity any of us have. All right, enough of my soapbox here. But Reach Your Peak Library is literally a collection of books that I personally have read and I vet. So not every book I've ever read is in here. And truth be told, I did not start reading voraciously until the age of 47. So that's 10 years ago. For anyone doing math, you now know. And the thing is, I just started reading book after book after book. And those that actually had a compelling impact on me, either in my business or personal life or both, I added to this list. And so there's no rhyme or reason to the order that they are in here. It's not alphabetical. There are a lot you can see by Grant Cardone. Those were grouped together. But most of them are just thrown in there as I read them, as they fit. I had them put on the site. And those are there for you so you can just pick a book quickly. If you see one that you haven't read or you haven't started reading yet at all, just read the quick description, pick the first one that works. And look, very clear about this. This is not what I would call a money-making website. That is not the purpose of this website. If any of you have ever done an affiliate with Amazon, as an example, you know that you don't make a lot of money selling books as an affiliate or much anything else. So anyway, that being said, this is here for you as a resource so you can go to a place where at least one other successful person has vetted books, and you can have a higher likelihood of grabbing a book that will have an impact on you than if you were to just wing it and do reviews on your own, which is fine with doing that too. All right, enough of my yammering, because it's time to bring on the very wonderful woman you all came to see. It's time for Ursula Odom. Here we go.
It's time for the Guest Expert Spotlight. Savvy, skillful, professional, adept, trained, big league, qualified.
And there she is, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, it is the one, the only Ursula Odom. Yes. Welcome to the show, Ursula. How are you doing this evening?
Oh, I'm absolutely wonderful and excited about today.
Yeah, me too. And, we just met half hour ago or so, and I just love your energy, your authenticity, your character. It just oozes from the camera, from your being. And I appreciate getting to know people like you, because we need more people like Ursula Odom on this planet. And you're going to find out why, everybody who's watching and listening here, in just a moment. And I can't wait to share this woman's amazing brilliance with all of you. Real quick, before we do a couple of housekeeping items, I wanted to let everybody know who's watching live. When you stay on to the end of this show, you will get to see how you can win a 5-night stay at a 5-star luxury resort. And that's all compliments of the Big Insider Secrets. You see the red stamp that looks like a stamp of approval there right above Ursula. And that is the biginsidersecrets.com. Very, very good friend of mine who runs that business. They offer this giveaway every single week. We're able to give this away because of them. And it's a bona fide vacation stay. It's not where they will whisk you down to the basement and, water torch you with a timeshare presentation or anything like that. It's legitimate. It's bona fide. So you do want to stick around for that. And a little birdie told me that somebody in this room also has a wonderful, wonderful gift. That would be Ursula Odom. So you also want to stick around for that announcement. And then real quick, one quick shout out, and then we'll move back and bring Ursula back on the screen. Don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. Here we go. If you're struggling with putting a live show together and it's overwhelming and you want a lot of the processes done for you while still enabling you to put on a high quality show, very important, and connect with great people like Ursula Odom and grow your business all at the same time, then head on over to carpetbombmarketing.com. Carpet Bomb Marketing, saturate the marketplace with your message. Now back to the woman of the hour. There she is, ladies and gentlemen. Ursula Odom is in the house. We're going to have a lot of fun tonight. And what I like to do, Ursula, is first I want to introduce you formally and officially because you deserve it, the respect. And then I want to jump in and find out what makes you really operate at such a high level. Is that cool?
Sure.
All right. Ursula K. Odom is CEO of Sula 2 LLC. She's a legacy writer, the author and co-author of several books, including African Americans of Tampa and her poetic memoir, At Sula's Feet. Really cool story. Can I tell it, Ursula? How Sula came to be? Sula is the last part of her name, Ursula. I love it. It's awesome. Very creative. She is a motivational speaker. I promise I won't steal any more of your stories. She is a motivational speaker, creates legacy walls. These are really, really cool. Hopefully we'll have time to show you one of those. She creates what are called legacy walls and portrays Mary McLeod Bethune, I hope I said that right, as a one-person show. And she gave me a quick history lesson. I had never heard of her. And I'm like, wow, how could I not have heard of her? Sounds like an amazing, amazing woman. But she did this as a one-person show, acting. Ursula Odom, actress. I love it. As founder of Sula 2 LLC, she has published books for clients from Georgia to California. She was raised in Georgia, graduated from Eckerd College, and is deeply rooted in Tampa with business, family, and friends. Yeehaw, I love it. Fantastic. And so, Ursula, what I love to do is after bringing someone on as amazing as you and reading the bio and letting people in on a little bit more of your accolades, your experience, your success, all of that above, what I like to do is go a little deeper. And don't worry, it won't be painful. It's what I like to do is I want to find out what is going on inside that beautiful brain of yours, because it is my humble opinion that where we are today, our level of success or lack thereof is 100% all what's going on in here between those two ears. And I'm very deeply curious about what motivates each individual. And so for you, being an entrepreneur, knowing that it's like a cakewalk every day, it's so easy, right? You know, I'm kidding. When you get up in the morning, you know that there are things that are going to be, knocking you back all day long. That's what we do as entrepreneurs. We solve problems, and so it becomes natural. But when you face this day in and day out, what is it for you? When you get up in the morning, what's going on in your beautiful brain that says, I've got this, I'm going to take it, I'm going to be a champion, I'm going to get through it, and I'm going to crush it today, even though there might be an arduous task lying ahead? What is going on in your wonderful brain that is keeping you motivated and powering through each and every day?
There's a person on the other end of my activities that's waiting for their baby. Something that will motivate them, that will make them happy. And I like that moment when they receive their book or they look at that wall that's been revealed. Those are the moments that make me joyful, and that I get up wanting to get closer and closer and closer to that moment.
I so relate with that. That so resonates. And that is why you are so beautiful, because you're talking about other people's joy, other people getting to the finish line, getting what they wanted, what they desired. And that brings you joy. That's what's one of the greatest, most beautiful things about you and many entrepreneurs I have on the show is I can't think of one. We're all service first. We're service oriented, giving. And that tells everyone out there that you have achieved a level of success that allows you to have that kind of thought process. Because when we first get started, me included, I had a very scarcity mindset, right? Everything was, I gotta make money. I gotta figure out how to make I gotta get the money, to pay the bills and all that. And then when you achieve a certain level of success, the true you shines through and says, I just want to help people. And you make money by helping people anyway. Do you find that at all to match your journey, or has it been completely different for you?
No, it's absolutely that way. Even during my corporate days, when we haven't even talked about that because I don't focus on that anymore. But I worked in a Fortune 500 company for a long time. And the best moment was when one of the people that was working in my department, when she heard what I had done, she said, and she later regretted it, but she said, Ursula, it's like you work for us instead of we work for you. I said, yes, that's it. My job is to open doors for you so that you can get your job done. So I was happy when she said that, but she regretted it because I repeated it way too many times.
And you know what? That is what I call a bomb dropping moment. So just a moment. We'll see it here. Yes. Bombs of wisdom, smart bombs. That was phenomenal, because I hope everyone watching and listening got that. What Ursula is saying is she is thinking about the client first and making sure they reach a level of success or to the finish line of what they want. Her focus is on them, not on her. And I wish there were more people on this planet that had that at their core, because I can tell that's at yours, Ursula. You're there to help people, and that's what drives you, and that's what motivates you, and that's what brings you joy. And I hope everyone, if you're not in that current state, not you, Ursula, but others watching and listening, then strive for that and make it more about your client than it is about you. And I'm here to tell you, when you do that, something shifts and things really start happening in a much more rapid pace in a good way. It's the same with this show. I love to lift up the guests, and everything on this show is about my guests. And I love doing this. I love what I get to do because of people like Ursula who are here shedding light on the world with her example. She's doing it by example. That's the beautiful part. She's not hiding anything. She's authentic. I love it. I love it. All right. I talked about books in the beginning. And I assume you're also a reader since we'll get into it, but you help others to create their own books. So what would you say of the books you've read, and you probably have a lot of them to go to in your mind, but the one that just pops out, that stands out, could be a recent read, it could be one from long ago, but what business related book would you say has inspired you the most, and why?
Well, the one a lot of people will relate to is Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill. And yes, there's so many things in there that are motivating or informative. But what really makes me point to that is because a lot of wealthy people are using that as a guidebook. And quite frankly, I think it's also being used when people are measuring who they're talking to. And if you've not been exposed to that book, you don't know that you're being judged by the merits of that book. So I think everybody should read it. I don't say that I agree with everything in it, but at least I know that these are the benchmarks that are being used.
Yeah, it's a pretty powerful book, definitely. I mean, it's often used as kind of a Bible of business, especially when it comes to things like masterminds. What do you want to do? You want to start a mastermind? How do we do that? Well, let's go read Think and Grow Rich again. It tells you exactly how to do it, that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of amazing stuff in there. And yeah, it's really cool, Napoleon Hill, how he interviewed all these incredibly successful people over the years and compiled this incredible experience of all that and shared it with all of us. So what was the biggest takeaway you had from the book? If you were to pick one that maybe you agreed with, and also maybe you put it into play, or it just really resonated with you the strongest, is there any one part of it that you can recall that really lifts up and comes out?
Yes, there is. The part where it says, I know I have the ability to achieve the object of my desire. When I read that, I said, yeah, I know I can do stuff. I can do this, and this, and this, and this. But what it then says is that I promise to myself that I will take the actions that are necessary to achieve that which I desire. And that's a promise I have to make to myself.
Ooh, so it's kind of like a contract with yourself, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And how many people, how many times have we run into people that they'll go and they'll get the knowledge? They'll read a book like Think and Grow Rich. They will go to a mastermind, or they'll go to a seminar, or they'll pay tens of thousands of dollars for a deep, 5-day type of retreat or whatever. But then they come back from that and they just think that by osmosis, they're going to start achieving success in those areas, rather than what you just said, the big A word, and that is taking action. I mean, how many times do you have advice for people that are out there consuming information, and what you would tell them to do, to say, in order for you to actually become successful or achieve your dreams, what would you tell them?
One, pick the dream that you want to achieve, and then backward engineer it. What will it take you to do the things that's necessary to get to that point from this day until that, and make the list? The whole adage about eat an elephant one bite at a time. Well, if you want to eat an elephant, but still. and how that translated in my life is that I have a vision board that started out as a vision little booklet. And then I took it apart and put it on a board and expanded it. And what it was in the beginning were the talents that I have, the things that I can do. And the goal based on those skills and talents were of a certain level. But it grew when I took the talents and took a string and drew it down to the bottom and turned those talents into departments. So my goal now is to expand everything that I know into a larger department where people are doing this, as opposed to me doing everything. And inch by inch, that's happening.
So are you talking about getting help, like team members, assistants, that kind of thing?
Building a team.
I mean, I could drop bombs all night on this thing. That's another bomb dropper right there, is get help. How long did it take you, Ursula, to realize? So look, we can all see it. We can all tell you're highly intelligent. You could do everything that you had on your list, obviously, or it wouldn't be on your list, right? And the thing is if you were to do it by yourself, how much longer would it take you to get to the end goal? And how quickly would you reach burnout, right?
Yeah.
And how long did it take for you to realize that it was time to get out of your own way and have help come in and assist you?
I'm still realizing that. As recently as today, I told my virtual assistant, I said, okay, that's what I want you to focus on, because that's where I need you. We'll find somebody else to do these other things. And so it's ongoing. That I know I need to do that in order to grow bigger and better, because that's about to happen. I mean, it's happening every day. People are beginning to call me as opposed to me getting on the phone. Well, this is what I do. I don't have to go out as hard as I used to, because they're coming to me. In fact, somebody walked up to me that is pretty prominent in the city, and he said, I want you to write my book. I went, oops. And I was stunned, because this person is just absolutely fabulous. And the story is remarkable. And he came to me because of what he saw that I had done before. So I just have to put the systems in place in order to keep that kind of credibility.
Ooh, another one. Systems. Yes, I love it. This is like, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're taking notes. Ursula is dropping some serious golden nuggets here, all the way through. Systems are so vitally important. Bringing on help, getting help. How long? I mean, and the thing that you answered it with was, how long did it take you to get to that point of realizing you needed help? And you said, I'm still realizing it. It's so true for all of us, because it's one of the things I love about entrepreneurship. It's always changing. There's always something that needs to be adjusted constantly, consistently, whether it's bring on a new team member, reassign a team member, whatever it happens to be from that end. And then there's working with clients. There's building systems so that you can better refine and scale bigger, faster, and then keep those people coming to you instead of chasing them. All of it comes together. And it sounds like a lot, and it is.
Mhm.
It is. But what you do is you get associated with somebody amazing like Ursula, and you'll have the opportunity to do that here toward the end of the show. We'll show you how to do that. And you start modeling them. She's done it. You just heard her. A prominent individual came to her. She didn't go out there hounding this individual. They came to her because she had built her platform and continues to build it in a way that she doesn't even have to go out and harangue people to get business at the moment. So that's phenomenal. And did you hear her? She's looking at ways to keep that going and not slip back to the way it used to be. It's constant. That's one thing I love about entrepreneurship. I mean, do you like the fact that you're constantly being flexible, constantly changing and solving micro problems all the time? Does it wear you out, or do you like thrive on it and enjoy it?
I thrive on that. But before I talk about that, I have to say one of the things that I said to you in terms of systems, when I took a look at what you do and how you onboard people, oh my God, this is best practice if ever I've seen it. It's amazing how you do this and what it ends up looking like. So
Well, I appreciate that. I didn't pay her for that, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. That came unsolicited. But yeah, and I like to keep focus on the guest. I do appreciate that. And yeah, we put a lot of time into systemizing everything we do in the back end. And it's been a godsend. I could not do this show. Here's the thing, and I know you're the same way, Ursula, that if you can't produce something or provide a service that is of the utmost quality and professionalism, then I wouldn't venture to do it at all if I can't do it with those two things in place. And if I can't do it, then, I can't do it by myself. So I created systems and automations to do it for me. A lot of what you see on this show is automated. Ursula's not automated. I'm not automated. But a lot of things that went on leading up to the show, the moment we went live, then after the show, there's some more that Ursula's going to see that most won't. But if you build systems, that was the key word that Ursula said, that she is also focusing on. You don't have to be elaborate and crazy and be, have all these automated processes done in a week, because you won't do it that quick. But get started, systematize your business any way you can. That includes bringing in help. That includes the operating procedures. Make sure you have everything documented, and automation. Yeah, definitely that's part of it as well. But if you don't have those skills, bring in somebody that does. Again, like I said in the opening of the show, you got to master a lot of skill sets. If you master the skill set of leadership, it's much, much easier. Obviously, this young lady has done just that. And so this is someone you need to model, Ursula Odom. It's a name to be reckoned with. Don't forget it. And you'll get, again, a chance to reach out to her very, very soon here. We'll give that information out. So let's see. What else can we talk about? What I want to talk about, Ursula, is what you do. You help folks author books, obviously, by the being approached by this prominent individual who wants you to write his book. Well, I guess that would be a question. Is that an option in your business model? Do you also ghostwrite or write books for others, or do you help them? But what is your business at its essence right now? What is it you do for folks, and what kind of people do you do it for? And I'll pull up your website as you do that.
Yes, I have ghostwritten for people, and I do. My primary focus right now, however, is to get people to pull out their intellectual property and get it published. There are people sitting on things right now that's worthy of being published, even if it's an idea or something that they've held close to themselves and not talked to anybody else about it, but it's something that could benefit others right now. I have tiny books, large books, but the focus is going after those items that are at risk of never being told, those stories that are at risk of never being told. That's what I want. And what does that look like? I've written African Americans of Tampa, which was a pictorial history of the photographs that I found. And I went through 15,000 photographs in order to select the ones that went in that book. And I wanted each photograph to have a little story behind it. And it becomes what others can use to build out the stories. And sometimes when you find a photograph, it may be of a construction site, but it tells a story of the people who built that building or that facility of whatever nature. And I'm focusing on them by offering an opportunity for people to find out if they have something that could be published rather quickly. And it's called Create Your Signature Book in a Weekend. And people look at me and go, what? Huh? Well, you may have already done it and just don't know it. So I pull people together and help them understand if, in fact, that is them, if they qualify for something like that. And okay, so this would be a good time to play the little clip.
All right.
Since it's there.
Yeah, so Ursula has a actual service or a course, if you will. Is it a course? Would you call it a course?
It's a Kickstarter group session that starts at first. Yeah.
Yeah, and then so there's a little audio snippet on this website that can give a little bit of a explanation of what that means. So here we go. Take a listen. Short.
I'm ready. Are you ready? The time is now to amplify your life and create your signature book. And what better time than this weekend to start moving towards your dreams? You will be amazed at how much you can get done in one weekend if you only knew what to do. Your book journey is waiting for you, so take the first step. Purchase the book, then connect with Ursula Odom, your book coach at Sula2 Publishing.
Yes, that's a really good voiceover. And Ursula has something very special for everyone here today. It's a limited time because you can't do this forever, but stick with us. You may not actually have to purchase the book to get in. So I'll leave it at that. We'll make that a little tease until we come back to it. So yeah, what is that all about, Ursula? Take us through what a session, a group session is like in, a few sentences. Don't give the whole thing away, of course. And then what people will come out of that with.
There are lots of people and categories of people that they put out a lot of information all the time. They have jobs or activities that they perform all the time that ends up being a resource if they realize that that's what it is. And the form by which those things materialize is what I help them go find out. And so it's not rocket science. It's just maybe people haven't thought about it. Easy one to think about. If you're a poet, and you know where I'm going with that, you probably have a ton of poems already written somewhere. Go get them. Look at them. Categorize them. And then you may want to publish them.
Yeah.
That's just one of so many different categories of people that have resources that they just take for granted. And I simply point to them and say, did you remember that you did this? Do you know that you can do that? Do you know we have the ability to do this? That's what I do. And to a point, everybody that has gone through it have been inspired. And I'm real thrilled about that. It is seeing the light go on and the sparks that happen. It's just been joyful. So.
And look at you. You're just smiling ear to ear. There's no fakeness. You love what you get to do, and you help people realize something they've never even known they had. Every person, I believe, has a book in them. I know you believe that, Ursula. You've seen it. You've helped them extract the book that they never knew they had. It's amazing. Right. And it's funny because, well, I shouldn't say funny. It's interesting. You know, one of the pushbacks often we'll get when we talk about writing books is, you know what? There is no topic that has not been written about in the world ever. They've all been covered. Yeah, but the key is, has it ever been covered by you? And with your, you know, your flair, your lens, what lens are you looking through? With the stories that brought you to where you are to learn what you're writing about. So what makes a book unique is you, the person writing it, and the stories that came from you. That's why people read books, not so much for the content. You know, if it was just dry content, well, it would be dry and we wouldn't finish the book. But if there are compelling stories and things like poetry, my goodness. Yeah, you could take all your poems and put a compilation together, and you could have several books if you wanted. Like you said, categorize them and put them in a different book maybe. But yeah, these shows. This is so anyone thinking about, I can't write a book, start a podcast, start a live show, and then record it. Then get it transcribed, then get an editor to fix it up. You have a book. It's done. You got your first book. What's that?
I said, that's number 2.
Oh.
I actually did that. And that was part of the inspiration for doing this, is that I realized I did that for someone, and it was not her whole story. It's not her entire life. It's about how much this woman volunteers. 15, 16 different organizations. And people needed to know about that because they could find themselves in there. They can find examples of things they could do for other people. Now, that's not her job, but that's something that is totally inspirational. And that came as a result of a podcast.
Yeah, and it creates impact. It creates legacy. You get to... if you didn't put it in a book, no one would know what happened, or very few, I should say. A lot fewer would. And so, yeah, I think it's wonderful what you do, Ursula, is extracting books and ideas for books from people who don't think they have one or aren't sure where it is. I personally am in the midst still of writing a book that I'm 90% done with it. It's been at that stage for a long time, and I need to finish it, because I'm excited about it. And it's going to be called Mind, Body, Business, go figure. But it's all about everything I've learned up to this point in the realm of business and in personal development, all that stuff. Very passionate about it. And writing a book, if you're an entrepreneur, so Ursula, do you have a book or 2 or 3 or 10 or 20 that you've authored, or?
Yeah. And you can find the combination of books that I've written on Ursula10k.com. It is Books by Ursula. When you go to that link, it's Books by Ursula is the link that will take you to the ones that I've written. I have about 3 more coming out soon. Yeah, those are they.
Oops. That's the wrong.
And there's a story behind each one of those. Oh my God! If I am to start talking about any one of those, it's been a fun journey.
And so I wanted to ask you, I'm deeply curious about this because I've heard this so many times. Do you remember your first book when you got published?
Yes.
And absolutely. Do you remember how excited you were and how accomplished that felt?
Yes.
And then later, after others found out in your peers, when they found out you authored a book, did it have any change or impact on your life from that day forward?
It's amazing how they react to you when you have a book. It's almost as if you're a new person. Oh, you're an author. Yeah. Yeah. And when you have the courage to put your words down on paper, then people believe that you believe in what you're saying and that somebody else found value in it too. Yes.
And from a business standpoint, it creates an authority status that they previously didn't see in you. Right. Man, I was crewing for a seminar company at one point. Crewing means helping out, running the back, running microphones, doing whatever they want, making sales in the back. This is a live event in the hotel. And I'll never forget this. So in the back, we had tables set up in a U shape. That's for the team. This is like sacred ground. Nobody else goes back there. And then this one guy came in dressed well and just sort of sauntered right back into our little U-shaped area. And I'm looking at him, giving him the stink eye going, you don't belong here. I didn't say anything. And I watched my teammates as they went up and started talking to him like they knew him. I'm like, okay, I guess it's okay. But this is pretty soon I'm going to have to ask him to get out of here because this is sacred ground, right? And then a few moments went by, and then a teammate walked up, and they had one of those lapel mics and the transmitter, and they started miking him up. He was a speaker. And at that moment, that instant, I mean, without a microsecond going by, my whole opinion of this guy changed 180. Oh, okay, he belongs here. And he's a speaker. Now I'm like bowing practically because, we've got somebody there, speaking, authoring books. It gives that authority status that people otherwise would not have a perception of you in that light. And this is all what I call building your platform. This includes having podcasts. This includes having live video shows. It includes writing books. All of it put together is building your platform. And that's what Ursula has done. And that is why people are seeking her out. How many of you watching and listening would like that to happen for you? Well, one first step is to connect with Ursula Odom. And again, we will give you the exact details of how to do that before we wrap up the show. So do not go anywhere. We do have some time, thankfully, left because I'm having a lot of fun. This has to go on for another 2 hours if you're okay with that, Ursula.
Careful. I'm with you on that.
I love it. I love it. Oh, my goodness. Oh, there are so many wonderful things I want to. Okay. So you've written about various topics. You've acted on stage, playing the life of another famous individual. Of all of the books, of all the people, of all of the stories and history, and maybe it's a family member, but to date, like right now, if you were to pick one person, who would you call that one person as being your greatest inspiration and why?
Without a doubt, it's my grandmother. The original Ursula. Sula, as she was called. And she was just an amazing woman. And for me to be named for her was inspirational. I've even written poems about the fact that we have the same name. She's Ursa Major and I'm Ursa Minor. She's the best in her league and I strive to be the best in mine. That's what she did for me. But she was also a funny person. And I tell this sometimes when I talk about the first book that I wrote, At Sula's Feet, to give you a feel for the kind of person she was. I would say to her, Grandma, I love you so much. I don't think I could stand it if you died before me. And she said, I said, Grandma, I love you so much. I don't think I could stand it if you died before me. And she said, And I guess I said it one time too many. I said, Grandma, I just love you. I don't think I could stand it if you died before me. And she looked at me and she said, if you really mean that, get on your knees and pray. Ooh. God is a good God and he'll hear you and he'll answer your prayer. I thought, she's 68. I'm 10. I said, I didn't make that prayer. And she lived to be a ripe old age of 92. So I didn't shorten her life. Thank you very much. Thank you, God, for that. But what she did in that, and I always come back to this, is that's a wonderful example of how to help a person think about what they're saying and the magnitude of what they're asking you. She knew that I was asking her to come to my funeral. And she had been to her children's funeral before, and she wanted no parts of that. Yeah. I was asking her the worst thing I could possibly ask her, to defeat the natural order of life. That is not the way things are supposed to happen. But she didn't really, make me feel bad about me and tell me how stupid that was, or berate me. She made me think about that thing. And when you think about something, you come to different conclusions, regardless of what comes out of your mouth.
What she was an amazing teacher, to extract out of you. Yeah. And, we all know you're 10, those were not your intentions at all. They were about, I want to express my never ending love for someone. That's
Right.
it. That was the whole, that's probably why she didn't chastise you or call you out for that, but instead gave you a learning moment, which what an amazing woman. And I can see the apple didn't fall very far from that tree. So and see, here's a great example. You guys are watching this unfold real time live right here. She's kind of giving some of the recipes for a book, right? She just told a great story. This is no one else's story but hers. No one else has this story. This is Ursula's and hers alone. And that's the beautiful thing about it. It makes it unique. That's what makes your book unique, no matter what you write about. It doesn't matter, Ursula, what the topic is, really? I mean, really? Or is it more about the personal connection? Or does it just depend on what the topic of the book is? I'm curious.
Well, my motivation is because I wrote these thoughts about growing up in backwoods of Georgia, and I read them before a Toastmasters group, and they told me I needed to write a book. So I went to Felicia Winton, and I always call her name. She was the owner of a bookstore. And I asked her, what should I do? And we talked for about an hour. And she finally said, Ursula, it's not how many lives that you touch, but that you touch lives. And from that, I went to talk to the person that she recommended that I talk to. And that in itself is a story. I said, okay, I want to come talk to you. He said, what about Wednesday? And I looked at the calendar and I said, nope, I'm coming on Thursday because that's day. You are going to be my birthday present to me. So that's how my first book started. And, it's my story that I've found it's resonated with other people, and they find themselves in it. There are some things in there that are shocking to some degree. I told this earlier today, I think it was, that my mother was actually mentally ill. And when I wrote those words down in a book, and the ground didn't open up and swallow me up, or thunder and lightning didn't happen, I was like, oh, this is good. All of that, I let it go. And so in some cases, it can be therapeutic. You have to decide what you want this book to do for you. If you want to be an Amazon bestseller, or you want to change the world, then you set in motion the things it'll take to make that happen. I tend to want to get people to write the story. I've seen too many times where someone passed away, and they're of historical significance, and all that stuff goes in the garbage. And then years later, people go, I wish I had her. If I'd only talked to this one, if I'd only talked to... No, now's the time to get that information. Now.
Yeah, putting things off never works. There's never the right time to do anything. I mean, is there ever a right time to have a child? Most people don't plan that, or it doesn't come out as planned as far as the timing. Some want it and strive for it, but it doesn't happen the very moment they're asking for it. And it's just about taking action. You talked about that earlier, the big A word, I called it. It's very important that I need to take my own advice and your advice, Ursula, and finish my own book. I need to carve out the time every week and put it on my calendar and just say, I'm going to work on it till I finish it. It's 90% done. Come on, hit the finish line already. Because like you said, if I don't make it on this earth long enough before that book is written, then it's gone. It's gone with me and my ashes, or wherever I end up being disposed of at that point. But what a great story with your grandmother to say, pray about it. I think that's powerful. So powerful that again, she gets it. That's where it comes from, I think, with you. It's outside of you. You're looking to help other people. And she was saying, you're looking for someone to help you, to help her live longer. You need to look outside yourself all the way up to the greatest power, which is God. And I love that. That is phenomenal. It's so, isn't it great how, I mean, look at the legacy your grandmother left. Isn't that wonderful? You know, and now you're helping others to do something similar, to leave a legacy. I'm not saying to be your grandmother or be just like her, but to leave a legacy, leave something behind that their grandkids and great grandkids can then pick up a book and say, oh, that was grandma or that was grandpa, you know, and have it impact other people's lives and inspire them. Like you said, even if it's just one, isn't it worth it? I think so. Absolutely. Your message is amazing, Ursula. I love every bit of it. So many would say, oh, I'm going to help you write a book to be a bestseller and sell 10 million copies. That's not what you're saying. You're saying, let's just write the book and inspire others, and let's extract it from you. And I love it. I love it. This is awesome. Let's see. There are so many things I wanted. So you mentioned you were in the corporate world. So if you had a chance to start over from the very beginning, knowing what you know now, you know, you went through corporate, now you're an entrepreneur, you're doing your own thing. Or maybe it's something completely different. If you were to start your career over entirely again, what might you do different?
I would seek out and secure a mentor. The reason that resonates with me is that a very dear friend of mine was an architect. And he talked about when he went to college, he met this practicing architect in the area who was a relative of his friend. That person, knowing that he was an architect student, took him into his fold and coached him through the whole 4 years. Actually put him to work. He designed houses, built houses, and was a driving Miss Daisy type person too. He drove the person around, and he did things for this man and his wife. And when it was all said and done, as he graduated, he looked at the person and he said, well, what can I do for you? And he said, remember my name. And because that story was told to me, I now put the name Velton Banks into the universe again. That is the person who coached this person, who ended up being an award-winning architect. And that was all because he told him what to do, how to do it, what was good about it, what was not good about it. I mean, he just coached him the entire 4 years. And that person has now coached young people today that I know are going off and doing some wonderful things too. I mean, like award-winning things. So you never know what small action is going to have a ripple effect generation after generation. Most people don't know who Velton is. We'll never know who he is, but he's impacting lives of people that are, somebody that's in college right now, I know that their mentor DNA tracks back to Velton.
Mentor DNA. I love that.
You know?
So vitally important. I'm so glad you brought that up. Get a mentor, or more than one. And yeah, oh my gosh, I had one of the greatest mentors. And he was in the seminar industry and spoke from stage, and I learned a lot from this. And he could be by age. He literally could be my son. I never cared. It never bothered me. I never put any stock into age, gender, color, race, anything, as long as the results are there. And if the person is of high character and authenticity and all that and integrity, we're all God's children, in my humble opinion. And so this guy, he taught me so much. One of those was I would help out with his events, and at great expense to myself, monetarily and time-wise, many times. And I kept getting asked by colleagues of mine, people who knew me, he's like, how much are you getting paid to help him out? I said, nothing. What the heck? You're crazy. Why are you doing that? They were literally calling me stupid. And I said, yeah, but if they knew the value I was getting from it, I should be paying him.
Right.
Literally. And I recommend many people find a mentor. If they charge money, pay them. The more you pay, the more skin in the game you have, the more you are likely to take it to heed. Make sure you get a good mentor first and foremost. Know that they have the chops to help you. And then once you found that and you're certain of the right person, do whatever it takes, because it will save you years of anguish. And Ursula's nodding in agreement as we go through. Yeah. And be willing to put in the work. It doesn't work without your work. They can teach you and coach you all they want, but if you don't put it in action, my goodness, I got off on the soapbox, didn't I, Ursula? What happened? So I'm total agreement with you about mentorship and all that. Oh my goodness, it is late into the show. Let's see. We had a couple things we wanted to do, and that was give away something. We've got a couple things to give away. So we have a 5-night vacation stay at a 5-star luxury resort. Compliments of the Big Insider Secrets. That's coming just around the bend. And Ursula, what I like to do to end every show is I love to ask one specific question. I ask the same one of each guest, and it became a very powerful, profound one. You talked about writing a book. I'm compiling all of the answers with permission into a book, and it'll be the title of the very question. The question is the title of the book. Pretty cool, because it's been very profound. The answers I've gotten, I mean, they're just amazing. They can be personal in nature, but it's a powerful question. More importantly, the answer is incredibly powerful every single time. But before we do that, I did promise everyone that stayed with us live that they could enter to win a 5-night stay at a 5-star luxury resort, compliments of the Big Insider Secrets. And I am putting that up on the screen right now. So you do have our temporary permission to take your attention away from the screen or from us, but whatever it takes to get you to get a browser open, go ahead and put in this URL that you see on the screen. It's ryp.im/vacation. ryp.im/vacation. Just go there, enter your name, email address, your cell number, so we can text you to let you know that you're entered and to check your email. And we will pick a random winner. We do this each and every week. Compliments once again of the Big Insider Secrets.com, and cannot wait to see who wins that. And then Ursula has an amazing gift for all of you. So Ursula will bring that website back up on the screen that we had earlier and let you take it away and describe to folks what it is you are offering and what it's all about, if you wouldn't mind.
You're invited to go to an interactive session where we talk about where those gifts are that you have and how we can get them to the forefront and get a book written. Normally, you buy the book, create your signature book in a weekend, but if you attend this session, then you get it for free. And the next one coming up is on the 21st. So you're invited to go there, register. It is free, and find out what you can do in a weekend.
Oh, I love it. What you can do in a weekend. Absolutely. Yeah. And so I put the URL that you can get to the this incredible offer. Thank you, by the way, Ursula, for making this possible. So to be clear, all you need to do is register and attend her next coming event. And to do that, you go to the website we said, and I'm going to do this audibly for those listening on podcast, if the timer has not ticked away by then. And that is ryp.im/Kickstarter, all one word. So again, it's ryp.im/Kickstarter. And you'll come to a webpage that looks similar to what you see on the screen. If you're watching this on video, you'll see this. And you'll see Ursula's book on the front. And you go to the button on the right that says Start Your Weekend. Or you can scroll down and hit the register to start your weekend. Both of those take you to register for her next upcoming event. So you can then learn how you can get your book moving in just one weekend. That's phenomenal. Great, great service. Anything more you want to say about that, Ursula?
Let's get started.
Perfect. Right on cue. That was phenomenal. Yes. And that is, in my opinion, the best way to connect with Ursula is to get into her event. You know, we as entrepreneurs, we love people of action, those that take action, that take that next step. And if you just did that and you absorbed her brilliance for that session, then you're going to have that connection that you otherwise would not have. And so if you make that connection, you're now in her email list, and she has the ability to reach out to you as well. And so, Ursula, is there another way folks can get in touch with you outside of that, where they can say, I want to have a chat with you. I want to seek you out like that other prominent individual did. What would be a good way for folks to connect with you?
The easiest way is to go to Ursula10k.com, ERSULA10k.com. Everything is there.
Woo! Let me see. I think I still have that up. Oh, there it is. One moment. I'll give everybody a visual. I love visuals so that folks know what they're going to see when they type it in correctly. Is that the correct one, Ursula?
That's it.
Now look at this. It is absolutely chock full. Oh, I've got to do it. I know we're running over a little bit of time. Are you okay with this, Ursula? I've got to show off. Oh, she has created some amazing things, including something called a legacy wall. She's done several of these. There it is. It's loading up. Let me zoom in on that a little bit so people can get a better view. Look at this. This was completely 100% designed by Ursula. And I can't imagine the amount of time and effort it took, the research. You were telling me, or us, how many photos you went through for walls like this. It was an unbelievable amount. And the time it took. So you design it, you give it to somebody to put on the wall. Is that how it works?
Well, yeah, it's installed by professional installers, but I have myself and my team create everything that's there. And in that particular wall, I did everything but install it.
Woo, woo. Those you never forget, do you? And here's the thing I was saying, no matter who occupies this space in this building, who on earth would want to paint over that wall? That is a beautiful, gorgeous, look at it's like a big mural history lesson. And it's actually calling out someone. And this is for the purpose of bringing someone up as a legend. Is that a correct assessment?
Yes. The school is named Booker T. Washington Elementary School, and Booker T. Washington, he's legendary. So it tells the story of the namesake. It also gives information about the school itself and some of the legendary people that have come through that school. And then at the bottom, it's a storybook of Booker T. Washington's life designed to interest little people. And the day that it was installed, somebody was on the phone with their spouse, and the person said, "You all should call that the wow wall, because that's all I hear. Wow, wow, wow." And then to come back and see a teacher with like a first grade class or something sitting on the floor reading the bottom of that. I said, that's what I want. That's it. And we have little docents who will come and explain. They get to get out of class and talk to people about the wall. And that's all a part of the experience.
Oh my gosh, that has got to be so unbelievably gratifying to know that kind of impact. And it lives long beyond, going up on the wall. It'll be there for a long, long time. Fantastic. Oh, yeah, I had to show that. That it's just too amazing not to. Okay, so it's time for that question. You remember we were talking about that question?
Yes.
So some people get a little nervous or a little antsy, but I'll help you out with that. Here's the thing: there is no such thing as a wrong answer to this question.
Okay.
It doesn't exist. Flat out. In fact, it's the exact opposite. The only correct answer is yours, because it's going to be unique to you. Just like writing stories in a book, just like your grandmother's story. That's what makes it so powerful. And that's the only part that makes it even a tiny bit personal, because it's your answer. That's all. And so with that, are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
I love it. Yes, you'll and look, if it takes you an instant to come up with the answer, great. If it takes you 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 seconds, it doesn't matter because it is your answer. It's all good, no matter what.
Okay.
No worries whatsoever. All right, here we go. Are you ready? Ursula Odom, how do you define success?
Oh, well, I'll say it like I feel it. It's that which makes me happy. And I've said this earlier, when I can do something that is of value to someone, that will live beyond me in the universe, then that to me is success. An example of it came when I had an exhibit at the fair, and it was of Mr. James A. Hammond, who was the first electrical contractor in the state of Florida, African-American electrical contractor. And he did a number of wonderful things in the area. And a young lady came by, and she had this sash on her. She was awarded queen of some contest. And we talked, and finally she told me what school she went to. And I said, oh, cool. Turn around. I want to take a picture of you next to the photograph of this person, because this is the man that challenged the school legally in order for you to even be able to go to that school. Mm. So that brought the history and the actions of the past into a present with what I know would impact the future. That is success for me.
You know what that means. That is the way to end an amazing show with an amazing individual. Goes by the name of Ursula Odom. Thank you so very much for coming on the show tonight, Ursula. You've been a joy, an absolute joy to talk to. The value you brought is insurmountable. And I hope everyone took notes, and that they don't just write it down, but now put those notes into action. Reach out to Ursula, get involved with her event. Be sure to go to ryp.im/Kickstarter and just make that happen. Do that like right now, because the show's over. So you can go do that right now. ryp.im/Kickstarter and get enrolled so you can go into that session and learn how you can craft that book starting in just a weekend. And you can change your life. And not just, here's the thing with Ursula, it's not about just changing your life, but it's about you impacting the lives of others. It's about paying it forward. And how can you, her definition of success, she started out, I got to point this out, Ursula, is that what makes me happy. That wasn't the end of it. The thing that makes her happy is value to others, giving value to others, having an impact on others. So that is the essence of Ursula, is not about herself. It's about what she can do to impact others in a positive way. So you're a blessing. You're such a blessing. I appreciate you. I'm so glad our paths have crossed, and I hope many, many more will cross your path as well and take that next step toward extracting the beautiful book and stories they have and put them on paper and create their own legacy. So thank you for doing what you do, Ursula. You're so, so appreciated.
And thank you, because I appreciate you and what you do.
Thank you so very much. It's a love fest, ladies and gentlemen. We're having a good time. All right, that's it. It's a wrap. On behalf of the amazing Ursula Odom, I am Brian Kelly, your host of the Mind Body Business Show. We'll be back again next week with another amazing, amazing show. Until then, everyone have a very, very blessed evening. We'll see you later. So long for now. Thank you for tuning in to the Mind Body Business Show podcast at www.themindbodybusinessshow.com. My name is Brian Kelly.